Hey guys, what's going on? We got another PvP arena shuffle again as Enhancement Shaman. As you can see, we have a Resto Shaman, we have a Feral Druid, Discipline Priest, Balance Druid, and an Arms Warrior. So this was kind of I thought was going to be a very scary matchup. Between Feral and Balance having Cyclone and stuff, it was quite scary, but we were able to pull off something kind of crazy. But anyways, let's get into this. So first off, Feral Enhance, not really a known comp at all, right? It's solo shuffle. It's solo shuffle, so you get mixed match with everybody. But anyways, we're going to be trying to hit the Boomkin as much as possible, stop as many clones and stuff, while the Ferals just kind of be jumping between them. I'm going to try and follow his target for the most part. But what he's going to do is he's going to jump around, try and cyclone as many as he can, because he's going to get that Feral Frenzy bonus, right? So I'm going to try and help him get those out by stopping the Boomkin's clones and trying to hex the priest as much as I can too, because he's going to be eating all the interrupts from the warrior, and the Boomkin only has Solar Beam, which generally is used on the healer, so I don't have to worry too much. But yeah, as you can see, we kind of did a double cast on him there. So it was either interrupt clone or get hex, which is fine. I'm not too worried about the overlap, because if he had like insta trinketed, maybe it might have got the hex on him and stuff like that, or if one of us got kicked, you know, the other one would have been guaranteed. But as you can see, we're just putting everything into this Boomkin. Now, you have a lot of utility to stop cyclones from druids at all times. You have your thunderstorm, you have your lasso, and you have grounding totem. So if you miss your first interrupt on the cyclone, drop a grounding totem. If you don't have anything else, use lasso, use thunderstorm. So don't be afraid to use those just to cause the interrupts, because cyclone is a massive buff. But anyways, as you can see here, we're really pushing onto this druid. I'm getting ready for another burst situation. As you can see, Feral Spirits is coming off. Primordial Wave is up, and here comes another burst. We get a lot of damage out, and you can just see they're pushing everything onto the Feral Druid. I see the link, so I try and heal. I try to run into the link, but I don't make it in time, unfortunately. I should have been a bit faster, because that would have meant more health exchange for the Feral, making it a bit easier for the Resto Shaman. But you can see he landed, I believe it, oh no, it was my Hex that got onto the Priest, because I believe the Shaman's really just focused on interrupting clones and helping with that situation. But I go ahead and knock the Warrior away from the Feral Druid and put him actually into the cage. It was kind of like a nice lineup there, so he couldn't get back. But right there, we were able to just quickly burst down the Druid. I think I kicked the Priest on his interrupt there. Or not interrupt, but his penance or something, because it didn't allow him to heal. But here, same type of thing, right? I want to be on the Druid, and I don't want to let him clone at all, right? That is the important part. As you can see, he's cloning. I thought I might have had the range for the Thunderstorm, so I went for it, but didn't get it. It was kind of a wasted trinket, but I saw the Shaman get feared, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to trinket. I don't feel like they're going for me at all, so I'm just going to trinket, get the Shaman out of the fear, right? I don't want my healer CC'd while they're trying to line up a burst situation. So you can see here, we get quite a bit. The Shaman does a nice interrupt on that clone. Here, I get cloned. I could have interrupted grounded. I think I was going for a grounding press, but I just missed it by a second. There I get feared. I tried to knock him and get it, but it didn't quite work. But the Druid got a clone on the Feral, so it kind of stopped damage for a while the Warrior wasn't quite on him. We get another quick burst on the Feral. You can see he's just kind of falling over a little bit. Doesn't take much damage to bring a Feral down. They are quite squishy. So you can just see here, and he wants to go for that clone. There's the life swap. He really wants to. I go ahead and lasso. This guy probably hates me. Here's a Sunder, and then he's just like, oh man. And then I went for the kick, but he got cycloned, so it wasn't too much of an issue. There I could have, I think I had grounding totem. Again, you can land so much. I also noticed neither of these druids were running decurse. So I'm not too sure on how difficult it is to get that. So the Feral Druid's trying to run away. You can see he's just trying to get behind a pillar. He goes ahead and clones me, which is fine for me because the Warrior charged Blade Storm. I'm just taking no damage from Blade Storm. Go ahead and kick Penance because I don't want him healing. I see the Cyclone cast start, so I go ahead and ground. I don't want him to get any Cyclones because we have quite a lot of pressure. You can see here he's running behind the pillar. The Shaman gets feared, so I just go ahead and Tremor that. But I don't want to let this Feral Druid get a re-stealth. It's very, very important because that's a lot of damage when he gets an opener, because Rake deals extra damage and it stuns as well. So I just want to make sure he's not getting a re-stealth. So here I go ahead, stop his clone with a Thunderstorm, because you can Thunderstorm with a stun, which is massive. But yeah, I'm basically focused fully on stopping these Cyclones. So I go ahead and ground that one too. I don't want to run behind the pillar because I am scared he's going to get a maim on me, which stuns me for 5 seconds, and then he can also do like quite a lot of damage. I go ahead and lasso, and then I see the clone on the priest, so I just pull it off and start doing as much damage to this Pharaoh, and the Boomkin's able to finish him off. It was pretty great. But as you can see, yeah, I'm really, really focused on stopping the Cyclones. That's all I want to do. I don't want to see any Cyclones going off. And as a Shaman, that is kind of your job, especially against any form of Druid. Resto Druids don't typically go for that many Cyclones, but DPS Druids do. All the time. They just want to Cyclone because it's a serious nuisance. But here we're fighting the Resto Shaman, so I do want to remove his totems, right? As per usual, you want to take out his totems. So here I get Cycloned. I could have interrupted it, but again, I didn't. Like, my PvP skills have been deteriorating as we go. I see both my teammates cloned, so I go ahead and shift, use my defensive, because, you know, I'm taking damage, might as well. But here we start pushing for the Feral Druid, and we get quite a bit out of it. But the Resto Shaman is able to recover, but I get a Hex on him, and I guess neither of them are running Decurse, so he has to Trinket, but the Priest lines up a really nice spear. Here I get one of the clones, but unfortunately the Boomkin also lined up clone, so it still went off. So you can see why it's such a nuisance, right? You really have to get as many as possible. It's more important to get the Feral Druid's clones though, because he gets buffed. Every time he gets cloned, his next combo spender, I believe, is going to cause a Feral Frenzy, which is quite crazy. It's a lot of damage and a lot of combo points. Here he goes for another clone. The warrior's on top of him, so I'm like, okay, I'll stop the Boomkin. There, he gets a really nice Stormbolt on the Boomkin, but here I'm trying to line up a Hex for the Shaman. There we go. Full Hex. Lasso the Pharaoh to stop his clone. Sunder to stop his clone. He's going to go for another clone. I'm going to Thunderstorm him, but unfortunately... Oh, I thought this was the time I knock him and he still gets the clone off. But no, the warrior actually got a really nice spear. But yeah, so you can see we're putting a lot of pressure. There's a grounding totem, so I was unable to kill it. There we go, got it. Spirit Link, okay. Healing Tide, okay. It moved away. I thought I killed it, but I guess he just moved it away. I thought I was gonna juke him there, but I failed. But here he hexes me, but since I'm in with the Feral, it quickly breaks because I'm just taking all the damage, right? But we're able to whittle them down with some solid damage from the warrior. He did awesome stopping a lot of those with me. It was great. All these guys did awesome. But yeah, here we go. Same situation. We're in the Boomkin, enhanced Boomkin, not a combo, right? But our main focus is going to be hitting the Feral, right? Stopping as many clones. With the Boomkin, we don't have as many stops for clones because he only has stuns and knockbacks and stuff like that, so it's very, very difficult. There we get feared, so I go ahead and Trinket Tremor. Again, I know I'm not the focus. I know the Boomkin's the focus. I also still have Burrow, just in case, because it is quite a high burst lobby, so I want to make sure I have Burrow instead of Bloodlust. But here he actually somehow gets a clone on the Shaman, which was kind of impressive. I don't know what happened there, like, because you're dealing with 3 kicks and stuff like that, so... But unfortunately, I did not have anything to stop that. I could have probably knocked them back. I think Thunderstorm was off cooldown. And if you didn't know, I am rewatching this for the first time, so... Just in case you were wondering, why don't you know what you did? Is because I never know what I did. But anyways, you can see we're just pushing all the damage. The druid pushes in for another clone, but I think he got interrupted on it, unfortunately. So here I get cloned. I wasn't able to stop it. I get MD'd by the priest. I should have probably done something. I don't know what. I wasn't even paying attention, but here I should be going for a clone. I try and heal up the boomkin. There's the clone by the boomkin. Don't know how he got it again. Here I should have already been lining up the hex to get onto him because it would have been huge. It may have been a kill there. But you can see the Pharaohs learn that even if I'm stunned, I can still interrupt his clone with a knock. So he runs away from me. Here they start pushing. I go ahead for the hex. I thunder, go for the hex, but unfortunately the boomkin falls over. I don't think I probably could have interrupted or grounded. It's probably one of those things I could have done. But anyways, we all make mistakes. I probably could have saved him. But yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. But anyways, same thing again. We're focused on the boomkin as much as possible. He goes ahead and burns his solar beam on me. I'm not sure if that was intended or not. I think he may have wanted to send that onto the priest, but I'm not quite sure. There, I missed a clone kick. So we're about to eat a couple clones because he got precog. I go ahead and trinket stun or fear or whatever that was. Because again, I'm not the target. I know I could be CC'd more, but I kind of feel like trinketing smaller things might actually benefit in the long run. But here you can see the druid is just taking all the damage. So here, I kind of switched to the warrior for a second because he's in my face, right? And the boomkin's behind a pillar. There's no point in hitting nothing. So I go ahead and just whack him. Here he goes for a cyclone. Go ahead and kick. Gets a nice stun on him. He has to trinket because he's going to be taking a lot of damage. I get an interrupt and then I hex the shaman, and then the pharaoh gets a follow-up clone with it. So the boomkin's running away, but I'm just hitting the warrior because I know there's no point in chasing and doing nothing when you could just hurt somebody and cause the healer to spend more mana, right? Make multiple targets. Multiple targets are more important. There, unfortunately, he missed an interrupt there. So I get knocked a little bit around here. I'm able... There, I see a hex going out, so I get ready to instantly dispel it. I don't want to see my healer in any form of CC, right? Very, very important. There I get a full cloned on because I suck at interrupting. As you can see, I missed it. And then he got precog, and then he's free to get it. So I should have probably sundered first, but that's okay. I go for a hex, but I get feared and interrupted, and then there's the grounding. Now I follow up with a hex, get a full hex. I kind of switch to the warrior, but he clones him, which is a bit unfortunate, but we can still push up and get to the boomkin fairly easily. There, the priest lands a really nice spear on the shaman. And I tried to get him with a sunder to kind of stagger him for a second, but I didn't get anything. Here I get cloned, but I go ahead and trinket it because my trinket came up, thankfully, and we just start pushing onto the druid even more. But I should have been probably focused on CCing the healer or anything. There's the full link. I got cycloned, so I'm kind of safe in a way, but there is the life swap from the healer. I tried to knock the shaman away to try and interrupt the lasso, because if you knock them a certain distance, you actually do break the cast, so it is quite helpful. But you can see the feral is just barely surviving. The priest is keeping him alive with just barely anything. He gets a stun onto the warrior, and then I'm just pushing this druid as much as possible, and thankfully we take the win. Oh my gosh, he was so close to dying. I was so scared, and then oh man, it was kind of terrifying. But here we go, last match of the session. Just like last time, stop as many clones as we can. I go ahead and purge the PI because that is kind of scary to see. We give him precog, but I go ahead and ground because I don't want to be cyclone this early. I want to try and get as much damage as possible, and I already sent out primordial wave, so I'm like, okay, I don't want cloned, and you don't want to be cloned in general anyways. So it's best to just use grounding totem to stop those. But you can see he's kind of backing up a little bit. He's going for a clone here, but the warrior's following him. So I'm going to stay on the boomkin to try and stop anything he's going to do. And I failed. I get cycloned. It's so frustrating, but dealing with 2 cyclones is frustrating, but at least they're on a similar DR. But there I got a hex on the priest. He goes ahead and instantly trinkets, but the warrior threw a stormbolt at roughly the same time, so even though he trinketed, he was still stunned for 3 seconds. Although it didn't quite add up to a a pressure situation, we did kind of do something. I guess we got trinket, so there's the ultimate penitence. The warrior backs off, which I don't blame him because it was a lot of damage about to come out, and he has no defensives. I still had a defensive, so I just popped it and did a little bit of healing for myself. So, but here I see him really wanting to pressure this Feral, so I follow up with him, go for a Hex, get the Hex off fully, and then we just start pumping. I drop a Grounding Totem because I want to make sure, okay, we can't get cloned during this situation because this is a lot of pressure right here. I see a clone start going off on the Shaman, but he was able to get a kick off. There's the Life Swap and the Shadow Melt. The Shaman's doing a great job of stopping that Feral's clones. Unfortunately, he still got one, and this is where I knocked him, but the cage brought him back fast enough where he could still get the clone off in time, so it was a bit unfortunate. But here the Shaman is definitely getting a lot of heals, but the Boomkin just falls over. But yeah, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Laters!